the LGBT culture, a look into the culture of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender culture by Lisa Policastro, Lynn University, PSY 640I. The LGBT culture is a group of people that have an attraction to people of the same sex or both sexes, and people that have a problem with their biological sex and want to be a member of the opposite sex. About 9 million people belong to the LGBT community, and 19 million Americans have had some experiences in same-sex behaviors. Because of a lack of understanding in this culture, there are many discriminations, like at work or in school. The government has implemented some legal protection for work discrimination, but this culture still suffers from harassment, prejudice, and discrimination. Sometimes it can even be violent. Groups like GLSEN run studies to see the areas that need most improvement in the acclimation of this culture into schools. The term LGBT culture refers to the collective identity constructed around the social and relational ties between people who are sexual, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and/or gender, transgender minorities. Women that are sexually attractive and have romantic desire to other women are lesbians. Men that are sexually attracted to other men are gay. People that have no gender criteria and are sexually attracted to men, women, and transgender are bisexual. People whose gender identity doesn't conform them to gender norms associated to sex they were assigned at birth are transgender. Transgender does not imply a particular sexual orientation. Scientists have performed studies in reference to sexual orientation and have found no precise reason why individuals develop a heterosexual, bisexual, gay, or lesbian orientation. Research has been performed on the possibility it is genetic, hormonal, social, and cultural influences, but nothing shows any proof of those factors. Some people believe that nature and nurture play a part, but most people have no feeling of a choice about their sexual orientation. Some of the common areas of this culture include the rainbow flag that we all know. Some live in gay villages. Some are considered drag kings and queens. And we all know about the pride parades. The LGBT culture is known for providing protective benefits, a feeling of belonging to a greater community of identity, and possess an increased sense of social and psychological well-being, even though they face a constant reminder that they are different outside of their culture, like discrimination, prejudice, and some disadvantages in society. Being part of this culture is a combined group effort. They are able to work together. Not everyone chooses to become part of the LGBT community, but those that do cite positive aspects, are able to create families of choice, are able to be positive role models, they live authentically, being involved in social justice and activism, and they have the freedom from gender-specific roles. Belonging to a supportive community is important to assist with others that may be discouraged because they are confused or afraid of being different. Creating families of choice allows the LGBT community not to fall into the traditional family role like father, mother, children. They can be comfortable in non-traditional roles like two mothers and a child or two fathers with no children. Young people, more than before, are now developing positive identities at earlier ages. Recently observed was a video on YouTube that provided stories of few young people in the LGBT community called At the Corner of Me and Myself, Voices of Multiple Social Identity. This video was comprised of young adults sharing their experiences of being in the LGBT community. One of the stories was a girl watching the world go by with one eye covered to deal with all the discriminations of not fitting in. She didn't fit in with her heritage culture or the American culture. The strength and courage of the people in this video was amazing. They were so confident. In the U.S., members of the LGBT culture experience extensive discrimination, prejudice, and violence because of their sexual preferences. This was widespread through much of the 20th century. The discrimination, prejudice, and hostility has lightened in today's environment in some cases, but there is still quite a bit of it that exists. Bisexuals get the worst of the prejudices and discrimination because they receive it not only from the heterosexuals, but from their LGBT culture. There's been some legal protection in the workplace from discrimination, but it sometimes doesn't help. The LGBT culture, because of their sexual orientation or gender identity, may be passed over for promotions, receive less desirable assignments, and might not even be hired. Some of their co-workers may isolate them. One of the biggest challenges in this culture is called coming out. Coming out is a term used when an individual obtains self-awareness of their same-sex attractions and tells a few people about it, like family members. It is extremely difficult due to the fear of how their parents and other loved ones will take the news that they are different. They fear rejection, anger, and grief. While building up the courage and strength to come out, they may experience lack of self-esteem. They also fear society's reaction because of so much violence, prejudice, and discrimination. In 1981, Justin Fashionell, the first openly gay athlete, broke both racial and sexual orientation barriers by joining Nottingham Forest as the first million-point black football player. He experienced all types of harassment from the other players and his team managers after coming out in the news media. Sadly, he committed suicide after receiving a sexual assault charge in the USA. In 1997, famous comedian Ellen DeGeneres came out of the closet during an episode of her sitcom. After the show was aired, in fear of controversy, advertisers like Wendy's fast food chain pulled their commercials. There's an organization named GLSEN who has worked with schools for more than 20 years to try and make them safer for LGBT students by conducting research. They mostly focus on reducing the bullying and harassment of these students. LGBT students experience a lot of harassment and assault that can negatively affect their connection to their school, causing their participation in events to decline and their grades. Today, because of Justin Fashionell's niece that wrote an article about Justin's struggles, there are gay-friendly football teams and football associations that are endorsing a stance on combating homophobia in football. Bullying isn't just for kids anymore. In order to be more effective in counseling, the LGBT culture counselors needed to be understanding of bullying, discrimination, and prejudice. Counselors should take the time to act as advocates for anyone that is being bullied and listen to their patients with lots of understanding. There are many groups out there to find out more information about the LGBT community, like the APA LGBT Concerns Office, Mental Health America, and American Academy of Pediatrics.